Hey, what's up, guys? Here in the Fire Sports Pod, where everything got is hot. We're going to be going over what's happening in the sports world. Welcome to the Fire Sports Pod. I'm your host, Zack Jackson. Let's get right to the show. We're powered by StreamYard, where StreamYard makes the dream yard go. Let's get right into it. So, first up, guys, a couple things that's happening in the sports world. We have the NBA Cup back and ready to roll. As last year, it was the in-season tournament. Now, I believe it's the NBA Cup. So yeah, they're gonna be rocking. It started actually last night between Golden State and Dallas, and I believe there was one other game. I forgot what that game was. But it was a really, really good game between the Warriors and the Mavericks. Klay Thompson's return to the Bay was actually very, very, very sad for him, as he watched Steph Curry do it again. First time he's been on the receiving end of a loss to his buddy and his running mate in Steph Curry. And the night celebration was on display last night, where Steph Curry hits a three to put the Warriors up by 4 with closing seconds remaining in the game. And that was pretty much it from there. Golden State has been playing out of their mind. They have beaten the Celtics. They beat the OKC Thunder. They did lose to the Cavs, but the Cavs are on a historic run. They have not lost a game since the season started. Do I think they're never going to lose a game? Of course not. But the Warriors, by we hit 20 games, they have a shot at being 17-3. Their schedule is very favorable for the next 9 games, and they really legitimately could be 17-3 after 20 games. That's almost a quarter of way through the NBA season, and there will be 17-3. They're a really good team. They really have a lot of depth in their lineup, and they're young, but with some savvy veterans. Of course, Buddy Hield is there, and he makes a big statement with Steph Curry. To be honest, he's actually an improvement of what Klay Thompson was for the last couple of years, because he's been injured, he's been hurt, he hasn't been 100%. So a Buddy Hield has been a reassurance and finally shows what a true backcourt will mean for the Warriors. And my God, they have a really good backcourt. Buddy Hield a couple years ago I think still has the most threes made in a season. So he has been playing really lights out. Steph Curry even was injured, and they were still winning games. This team is really good. They're going to be at the top. I don't think it's a fluke. I think people got to start paying attention to the Warriors and understanding these guys are going to be legit. They're going to be there at the end of the season. And they can beat a lot of teams. We saw them beat OKC. We saw them beat OKC with Chet. Oh, well, Chet got hurt early. But they beat them. They beat Boston, who's running the East, with the Cavs. And they did get absolutely trampled by Cleveland, but everyone has been getting really trampled by Cleveland. Cleveland's been playing out of their minds. Garland's having a hell of a year. Garland's averaging 19 to 20 a game. Donovan is averaging less than he did last year. Last year, Donovan was averaging 26 a night. He's averaging 23, and they're killing it. On top of that, Evan Mobley is a walking double-double every night he's on the floor. And on top of that, they got Jared Allen, who's also had so many doubles. He's had 50 double-doubles. This man has been out of his mind since he's been in Cleveland. So I think they have the Fab Three. They have Donovan, they have Garland, and they have Evan Mobley. They're getting compared to the 2016 version of Cleveland when they started out 9-2 and they won the NBA Finals. This team is now 12-0, and they're looking like they're going to be the team to beat in the East. I don't think they're going to be there I think they're going to be there at the end, but I don't think they're going to make the finals. I think they're 1 year short. I think next year they're even going to be better. Now, they won't maybe not go on a 15-0 streak in the beginning of the season, but they're going to be much better next year. I think next year is their year to compete for a championship. I think this year they'll be in the East. They are going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals most definitely, but I think they'll just fall short to Boston. I think Boston runs back and gets back to the finals. Philadelphia has a team. They're just so injured. 76ers have Joel Embiid and Paul George out tonight in their game, so they're not playing back-to-backs. Joel Embiid looked gassed as shit yesterday. It was the Knicks and 76ers yesterday in the other NBA Cup game earlier in the night. He looked gassed. Paul George is still not 100%. So they're up in the air. It's all about health for them. If we run down the East, so let's go into running down the East and the West. Eastern Conference. Excuse me. Let's go down the Eastern Conference and then we'll go to the West. So I'm going to share my screen, guys, and show you what really I'm talking about and how I'm gonna kind of grade each team as we go. But yeah, I think Cleveland is definitely going to be the team to beat. But I don't think they're going to be there at the end. It's sad to say because I want Cleveland. I really do want Cleveland. It would be nice to see Cleveland back at that top spot again without LeBron because they haven't been there without LeBron as the top seed. Cleveland, 12-0. They have been out of their mind. They've been playing really well. Like I said, Boston's right behind them. They lost to the Hawks last night when a close one. They had dropped to 9-3. But after that, the East is wide open. If you look at the Magic are the top there, and they don't have Paolo Banchero. They're 6-6. The Knicks are 5-5. The Pacers are 5-5. The Nets are 5-6. The Pistons are in it. They are 5-7. The Hawks are 5-7. The Heat are 4-6. They just lost because Eric Spoelstra had a brain fart and decided to call timeout when they got no timeouts and the game's tied. They make the free throws and win the game. The Bulls are 4-7. The Hornets are 4-7. They're not winning games, but LaMelo Ball is playing out of his mind. He's going to be an all-NBA team all day, every day. Going to be an all-star again, without a doubt. Milwaukee, they're having a shit year. Personally, I don't think they're doing nothing this year. I think Dame and Giannis, that experiment might be over. Chris Middleton's not healthy. Brook Lopez is nowhere to be found. Dame can't play any defense. Giannis still can't shoot. It's just in a mess. Washington, we all know they're garbage. They're in rebuild mode. 76ers, they're going to be there. They just got to get healthy. And Toronto, they're also not healthy at all either. So if we're going to grade, I would obviously there's a tier. There's two teams in tier 1. In tier A, that's Cleveland, Boston, without a doubt. And in tier B, you got Magic, Knicks, Pacers, Hawks, Heat, and that's tier 2. So you have Magic, Knicks, Pacers, Hawks, and Heat in tier 2. In tier 3, you would have Nets, Pistons, Bulls. And I would go Hornets, and that's tier 3. Tier 4, you would have 76ers, Milwaukee, Washington, Toronto, Washington. That's how I think the tier 4 up to tier 4. So we have tier 1, Cleveland, Boston. They're just the top teams. This is just now. This is not my prediction for the end. This is just now. Tier 2, Orlando, New York, Indiana, Hawks, Heat. That's tier 2. Tier 3, Nets, Pistons, Bulls, Hornets. Tier 4, 76ers, Milwaukee, 76ers, Milwaukee, and I would go Toronto. And then I would go Washington after that, last. So that's kind of how I rank the East right now through 12 games. That's how I'm going with. You guys let me know in the comment section what you guys think of the East and how it might play out. I think, like I said, I think at the end of the year, it's going to be Boston, Cleveland, Knicks, Magic, Pacers, Hornets, Heat. That's 8 right there. I would go Hawks, and I'm going to go Bulls. I think, in there you might tweak in the 76ers because I don't think they're going to be that bad. That for right now is kind of what I'm at. I might change the Nets. That might be where I put the Wizards. Milwaukee might squeak in there again. I don't think they're going to be this bad. I don't think they're going to just be on a really bad streak. I think that both the Bucks and the 76ers will turn it around, and they'll be in that top 10 thing, but they're not going to be like a top seed. I think the 76ers and Milwaukee are going to be 6 or lower, but nothing lower than 10. So between the 6 and 10 range, those two teams will be. They just have too much talent. 76ers, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Paul George. Milwaukee, you have Giannis, Dame, Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez. You have too much talent there for that team to be less than 10. All right, now we got the tiers, the grades for the East. Now we're going to go to the West. Now the West is tricky. The West has a lot of talent, and oh my God, it is not wide open. It is so close. The Suns. I think it is wide open because everybody's so close together, so anybody can just get hot at any time. You have the Suns at 9-2. Without Kevin Durant, they're still at the top. Kevin Durant is having a monster season so far. He's going to be back in a little bit. He won't miss that much time. They're just doing the precaution. Oklahoma City's at 2 at 9-2. They're good too. They lost Chet for about 2 to 3 months, so we'll see how well they do in the coming seasons months without him. Still think they're going to be in the top 4 seed, 5 seed. Golden State, I think, is going to be another top 4 seed, top 5 seed. They're at 9-2. They're playing phenomenal. Denver, like I said, everyone was going crazy. Oh my God, they're starting out slow. Denver's not going to have a good year this year. They got the best player on the planet right now in Jokic, and he's having an unbelievable type year. He's having a 30-point triple-double a game night each game. It's ridiculous. So Denver's going to be in there. They're at 4 right now. Rockets, they're playing really well. They're a young team that's wanted to run and go. They're playing really well. Memphis is finally back with John Morant. They're playing well. And the Lakers are there too. The Lakers are not bad. They lost to the Suns, which they should have won. There was a couple games they should have won, and they might be in the top seed. But I'm fine with that. LA Clippers, they have a lot of question marks. Kawhi Leonard is still hurt. I don't know when he's coming back. There's no really timetable. James Harden's doing all he can, but I don't think he's going to be able to sustain that. He's not James Harden of Houston. He's not that. Minnesota, they're just off to a little bit of a slow start, but they're 6-5. They're literally tied for 7 basically with the Lakers. They're 1 game behind the 4 seed in Denver. So they're going to be there. Sacramento's 6-5. They're 10. They're doing really well. The Mavericks, it's just early. They've had some games. They could have won last night. They'd have some games. They're 5-6. San Antonio's 5-6 at 12. Portland is 4-8. They're kind of eh. New Orleans is just hit with another injury bug this year so far. They're 3-8. And Utah just sucks. They're 2-8. So this is how the tiers are going to go for right now. We have the Suns. We have the Thunder. We have the Warriors. They're in tier 1. Tier 2, Denver, Rockets, Memphis, and I'm going to chuck the Lakers in there. That's tier 2. There's 4 teams. Tier 3, Clippers, Minnesota, Sacramento, Dallas. That's tier 3. Tier 4, you have San Antonio, New Orleans, Portland, Utah. I'm assuming New Orleans gets healthy and they'll be back in that tier. I think New Orleans and San Antonio can make a push in that tier 3 and get into the playoffs, depending on how the teams that are in the first 3 tiers do and how they end up. But I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be ready to go. So I think the West is a lot more closer than the East. The East has like the top 2 teams above, and then everybody else is like 500 or less. The West, you got literally 10 teams above 500 and 2 teams that supposedly above 500, but they're just not having their best starts and they've been hit with some injuries. So I would say they'll be back there in no time. That's our first segment, guys. We're going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back with you in just a sec. All right, guys, now we are back on our second segment and our last final segment of today's show. We're going to be going over the Cowboys. And I know I've been talking about this a lot, but the Dallas Cowboys have officially announced that Dak Prescott will be having season-ending surgery, so he will not be back for this year's season. Now, there's comes into question. Cooper Rush did not play well against the Eagles in his debut this season. For the Cowboys at quarterback, Trey Lance did not look that good either. But the Cowboys had a backup quarterback they let go for Trey Lance. And that Cowboys quarterback room has been turned on its head in the aftermath of Dak Prescott losing his season with an injury. Following the official word, he will undergo surgery. Veteran Will Grier is signing with the Dallas practice squad. So we are signing him back. And I remember I was going off on that when the Dallas Cowboys let him go and cut him after he had an amazing preseason game against the Raiders. And we let him go. So we're now bringing him back. So we might see Will Grier as a Cowboys quarterback very soon. And I really liked him. I think he really played really well, and I think he deserved a shot if Dak went down. That might be the case if Cooper Rush comes out and plays crap against the Texans this coming Monday night on football. Grier has a familiarity with the Cowboys after working as a backup with the organization from 2021 to 2022, so that is a legitimate reunion for both sides. Grier will now be the third quarterback under the roof at AT&T Stadium behind Cooper Rush and Trey Lance, who are both on the active roster. So he will have to prove himself again, but still, he's 29 years old, entered the league as a third-round draft choice of the Carolina Panthers 2019 out of West Virginia. Grier started 2 games during his rookie season, but went 0-2 in those starts. That brief showing was all regular season action. Grier was received during his career, completing 28 53 pass attempts over the stretch of 228 yards, no touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. That said, Grier had been well-traveled throughout the NFL and looked at a capable reserve player, which he'll serve in Dallas. After being released by Carolina in summer 2021, Grier latched on with the Cowboys for 2 seasons before being cut in 2023 after the team acquired Lance in a trade with the San Francisco 49ers. More recently, Grier had stretches with the Cincinnati Bengals, New England Patriots, and Chargers during the 2023 season. Grier signed a 1-year deal with the Philadelphia Eagles last March, but was released on November 7th. So, not big news, but again, I would like to see Will Grier get a shot if Cooper Rush does not pan out and we decide either not to play Trey Lance or that Trey Lance is not ready, or he plays like crap. I would think Will Grier will get a legitimate shot with the Cowboys this season, because it's really now just it is what it is type of season. There's no really hope. It's not gonna be a Nick Foles thing with Philadelphia, without a doubt. There's a difference between Nick Foles and Cooper Rush, Will Grier, and Trey Lance. Nick Foles was a proven quarterback. He knows what he needed to do, and he was put in a perfect position. Carson Wentz put that team on his back. He got hurt. Nick Foles stepped in. Great defense, great offense, great coach. We don't have any of that. We have an okay defense. We have a horrible offense, and our coach is trash. So it is going to be a different type of game coming in Dallas. We will see what this season comes about. Do we get even a couple games of a stretch? We've lost 4 straight so far. Do we even get an opportunity to win some games for the next thing, or do we just end 3-14? Like, that is a legitimate shot that we could end 3-14 and not win another game, because our schedule is tough. We got like 2 somewhat beatable games, and we could even lose those games because we have Cooper Rush, Trey Lance, or Will Grier playing. That's Carolina and New York. Every other game is tough. Every other game is ridiculous for the Cowboys. So it's gonna be tough. It is 100% gonna be a tough years for the foreseeable future for the Cowboys, because we really just don't have a legitimate team. So I'm gonna go over the schedule. I got the schedule on my phone propped up right here. I'm gonna go over the schedule, the remaining schedule for the Cowboys. But just in general, if you guys didn't see, the Cowboys beat the Browns. We were looking really good. Offensively, defensively. Offense didn't really have to do much. Our defense really played the game. And then we got absolutely trampled coming back home. Meanwhile, this was the first time we came back home since the loss to Green Bay in that playoff game where we got trampled. So we lost 44-19 to the Saints, and now the Saints suck. The Ravens, they were up 28 They were up like 25 to like 6 on us, and we came back and almost won that game. But we lost. Then we took down the Giants, just didn't look good. We took down the Steelers, just didn't look good. And then we played the Lions and got absolutely trampled coming back to AT&T Stadium. We're losing 47-9. Then we were down 30-14 or 30 to like 10 in the fourth quarter, and we banged 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns. We went marched right down the field twice, back-to-back drive, bang, 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 30-24. We get a stop. We have 2:20 left on the clock, no timeout. Dak just got to give us a good enough drive to score a touchdown and win the game 31-30. He goes 3 and out, lose the game. We had a shot to win that game. Falcons. He gets hurt in the game. We're only down 10. He gets hurt. We lose by 6. And then we just played the Eagles, and we lost 34-6. Back at AT&T Stadium. We got blown out again. But to be honest, it wasn't a blowout. Zeke fumbled in the end zone. Jake Ferguson dropped the ball in the sun multiple times. CeeDee Lamb dropped a touchdown in the end zone because of the sun. Cooper Rush fumbles the ball on the first drive of the Cowboys with a fumbled snap. Not to mention he threw a pick, and then he fumbled again. So, I mean, and then our Cowboys defense had 2 takeaways. We held them to only 14 points in the first half. We should have been up 14-6 at least. At best, we should have been up 14-3. They would have never got those 2 touchdowns because we set them up in such great field position. If anything, we're up 14-7 going into the second half. We're up. So beggars can't be choosers. We lost. Okay, it is what it is. We play the Texans next. At home, at our house, we play the Texans next. They're going to be fired up. They were up big against Detroit and lost by 3. They scored 0 points in their second half, got outscored 19-0. So they lost. They're going to be fired up. Then we play at the Commanders on Thanksgiving. No, not on Thanksgiving. The week before Thanksgiving. Play on Sunday at 1. Then we play the Giants on Thanksgiving. That should be a win. Then we play the Bengals. Then we play the Panthers. Should be a win. Bucks, Eagles, Commanders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 8 games left. 6 of those 8 are against actual formidable teams that might be going or competing for a Super Bowl or at least getting deep in the playoffs. So right now, in the next 8 games, we're 3-6. We can show everybody off and win. But to be honest, we can only lose 1 more game for us to still have a shot in making the playoffs. It's just the laws of averages are not going to work. We're not going to do that. So I think the Cowboys are doomed. I think the Cowboys season is over. We'll see what we can get out of this season. We'll see what successes come our way. But right now, man, it's just not looking good. But all right, guys, that's pretty much it for my show here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we got is hot. I'm your host, Zack Jackson. This is Season 5, Episode number 28. We are powered by StreamYard, where StreamYard makes the dream yard go. I'll see you guys on Friday for Season 5, Episode number 29. Peace out, guys. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Peace.